Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between two mighty mountains, there lived a young boy named Arjun. His family was poor, barely scraping by, but they were rich in love. Arjun was always lost in his thoughts, his eyes filled with dreams of something greater. But life had not been kind to Arjun. He was born with a limp, making it difficult for him to walk. The other children often teased him, calling him names and leaving him out of their games. Despite this, Arjun never let his spirit be broken. He believed deep within that he was destined for something extraordinary. Every day, after school, Arjun would sit by the old banyan tree, gazing up at the towering mountains. One day, I will climb to the top, he whispered to himself. It seemed impossible. Even the strongest men in the village struggled to conquer those peaks. But Arjun's heart was set. He spent years preparing, exercising his legs, strengthening his will, and feeding his soul with stories of courage and determination. When he turned 18, Arjun decided it was time. He announced his plans to the villagers, who only laughed in disbelief. "You climb the mountain? Impossible," they scoffed. Even his parents, though supportive, worried for his safety. But Arjun was undeterred. He knew this was his path, his destiny, with nothing but a small bag of supplies and a heart full of hope. Arjun set off on his journey. The climb was grueling. The jagged rocks cut into his hands, and the cold wind bit at his face. His limp made every step a challenge, and there were moments when he thought he might give up. But every time doubt crept in. He remembered the dreams he had under that banyan tree and pressed on. Days turned into weeks, and still Arjun climbed. He faced treacherous weather, near falls, and loneliness that echoed in the silence of the mountains. But he also discovered something else, strength he never knew he had. Not just in his body, but in his spirit. With each step, he felt himself growing closer to his true self, shedding the doubts and fears that had once weighed him down. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Arjun reached the summit. He stood at the top of the world, looking down at the village that had once seemed so far away. Tears streamed down his face as he realized he had done the impossible. He had conquered not just the mountain, but the limitations others had placed on him, and most importantly, the limitations he had placed on himself. When Arjun returned to the village, the people were speechless. They saw in him a hero, a symbol of what it meant to never give up, no matter the odds. Arjun's story spread far beyond the village, inspiring others to chase their dreams, no matter how impossible they seemed. Years later, when asked what kept him going, Arjun would simply smile and say, "The mountain was never my enemy. It was my teacher."